Are you ready to be inspired and empowered by the stories of a truly unstoppable woman? Then get ready for an exciting new episode of Unstoppable Women. I'm your host, Noelle Peterson, the Journey Navigator. Today, I'm going to chat with another remarkable and inspiring woman. In each episode, we feature a different guest who has overcome adversity and achieved amazing things in her career and in her personal life. Through authentic conversation, you'll learn about her struggles, journeys, and breakthrough moments that have helped her become the unstoppable woman that she is today. Each guest brings a unique perspective and powerful wisdom. You'll gain valuable insights into how to overcome challenges, break barriers, and thrive in your own life. You'll walk away feeling empowered, inspired, and ready to take action toward achieving your own goals. Good afternoon. So excited to be with you again this week. This week we've got Terri Levine, known as the business mentoring expert with a heart. Terri is one of the world's top business and marketing strategists. She's known for consulting with business owners to help them move from ineffective traditional sales, marketing, and operational methods into effective, authentic, and transparent, people-centered communication models. So much better. Terri has over 30 years of business, sales, and marketing experience and has helped over 6,000 business owners reach revenue goals they never thought possible. She is one of the world's foremost experts on how to market a coaching business. She has built and sold several multi-million-dollar companies. She's a best-selling author of over 40 books and a highly requested keynote speaker at events and conventions throughout the world. And what a pleasure to have her join us today.
Hey there. It's a pleasure to be with you. I am excited. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. I'm so excited to hear your story. How did you come to be who you are today?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question.
Take whatever route you want to take.
All right. On a personal note, part of it is certainly my background and growing up. I grew up with nothing, like absolutely poor, just didn't realize I was poor. And really my parents taught me just to be a kind person, a good person, and to embrace humanity in all different shapes, sizes, beliefs, colors. And so that I've carried with me in life and feel like it was probably one of the most important gifts that I got from my parents. And in business, I realized very quickly in my first business, when it went to $1 million business all the way back in 1983, when like $1 million was a lot right then. Now it's not a lot of money. I realized that I had a knack and a true understanding of how to grow a business, how to do it easily, how to do it fast. And I had a passion for teaching it to others.
Oh, what a blessing. And I know you have blessed so many lives. I've been on some of your trainings and it's just a joy to hear you. What are some of the tricks you've learned?
So the first sort of secret that I've learned is that, hey, Deborah, glad you're here, is that when you do business the way that most people are doing it, whether it's now or whether it was 30 years ago, most people do it by pushing. And instead of doing it in the Heartrepreneur method, which is a way of connecting with people heart to heart, it's creating education and value. I wear a little bracelet that says serve and create. I wake up every day to serve and create. And at the end of the day, when I feel like I have done that, turn it around, my little check mark is there. I am all about how do you serve and create? How do you disrupt the way most people are doing business? Hunting, cold messaging people, and constantly bombarding people trying to sell, closing, pitching, overcoming objections. So the first thing, throw that all in a trash can, dump it, and then start having real conversations with real people heart to heart.
Real conversations, that's a possibility.
I know, it's such a newfangled idea, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I come from the ministry world where that's all you do is, work on relationships, but in business too.
Yeah, believe it or not, it's almost unbelievable that The average person doesn't think to do business this way. It's like you're a real person, regardless of the brand, connecting. And yeah, Deborah, it's absolutely possible. It's exactly how you bring people to your world. You're in a program with me right now, Deborah. I made an offer just a couple of hours ago, and I only have room for 10 people. We have 9 people and a 10th that just messaged me. She's transferring funds and will be joining. That's not because I pushed or sold. I just extended my hand and I helped real people for days and said, hey, would anyone like to go further? Very simple way of doing business.
Because they know you and they know your heart and they've been able to build that relationship with you.
Exactly.
I'm sure these people aren't people that you just met this morning.
Some of them joined this program and did not know me, and I have been training them and giving them value since Sunday. And some of the people who joined the program even before it started have been getting value for about 3 weeks. And I gave massive value Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I wasn't even going to make an offer of a program, just that people kept asking me, how do I get to work with you? How do I get to? So I just made a very simple offer. And, we had like a ton of people apply, and I can only take 10. That's just a very simple way of doing business, giving your heart, giving your all, not holding back, and letting people do business with you heart to heart. And if they like your heart, they're going to ask, how do I get to work with you? It's that simple. You don't have to sell them or pitch them.
I think that's such a revolutionary thought too, unfortunately, because it's so fundamental.
Yeah. And that's what the interesting part is. I'm glad you said that. As we're talking, it's like, well, that's basic, Terri. That's fundamental. You've been part of my community for 3 years now. Oh, what an honor to have you. And what I've noticed is that it's not the way most mentors, coaches, consultants, whatever, are teaching people. And they're teaching people to almost be intrusive and do this in your face, pitching and closing and lookalike marketing. And the whole reason I have the Heartrepreneur movement is to disrupt how business is done. Look, I'm not that smart. I'm being honest with you, really not. I wasn't a great student. This is my 8th multi-million-dollar business in all different industries. Why? Because I'm really not that smart. It's that there's a simple formula, and it is about connecting heart to heart. And once you do it, it works in any industry, and you can do the same thing.
So you want to tell us a little more how Heartrepreneur came about?
Oh, yeah, that's kind of a funny story. So I've been in this industry for about 34 years, and my first company was called Comprehensive Coaching. And I was writing a book for one of my publishers. He'd already published 3 or 4 of my books, had my contract. I was about 4 months into writing, and he asked me to come to New York to meet with him. So I took the train from Philly, where I was, to New York. And he took my manuscript in his hand, and I guess I knew him for about 11 years at the time. And he took my manuscript and he threw it on the floor. I'll never forget this. I'm gonna start crying. And he said, I don't want this. And I'm like, but this is what we have a contract for. He said, no. I've known you for 11 years. You do business heart to heart. Write me a book about being a heartrepreneur. First time anybody had ever used that word. And I went, a what? And he said, heartrepreneur. I had no idea what he meant. I was so upset. Got on the train to go from Philly to New York. It's a couple of hours. And on the train, it was like, if you've seen that, I could have had a V8 commercials. That's what it felt like a knock on the head. And I went, oh, just teaching people how to do business with their heart instead of traditional sales. And I got it. And so I liked it so much. So by the time I got home, I had a trademark attorney. We trademarked Heartrepreneur, changed the name of my company to Heartrepreneur LLC, rebranded everything under Heartrepreneur. And that's how Heartrepreneur was born. So I thank my publisher for that great advice.
But I want to capture a couple elements out of that. We have mentors and we have friends, we have people in our lives, but we have to be at a relationship level where we're listening to them and allow them to speak into our lives and take those thoughts. Because if you wouldn't have been in that situation or heard the voice where you could process it and be open to the possibility of switching and changing gears, your life would be completely different.
I'm glad you said that. There's 2 words that I really want the audience to hear, and that's open and curious. I am always open and curious. I don't believe that I have the right answers, all the answers, my way, no other way. I am open to everyone's point of view. I am open to learning from everyone. I am open to hearing what other people believe. And I stay open and curious. And very often that is how I get the right information and download it. And the other thing that I then do is implement. I said, I went home and did this and I mean immediately. I had a trademark attorney on the phone and under process the next day. So when, very often the teacher appears right in front of us and the universe is like saying, hello, I put the teacher in front of you. And we're going, yeah, squirrel, squirrel. And we're not paying attention. And I'm always open and curious, and I'm paying attention to why is this person showing up or this information showing up? I have a possibility mindset, and I say yes to almost every experience and opportunity. I rarely say no.
I think that's key. We've had several mentors in our lives recently talk about that same thing. It's say yes. Be just awareness. I mean, if you think about just a simple, when you talk about getting a new car and you're like, okay, I want a red Lexus, you see all the red Lexuses around. When you think about opening your mind to what businesses opportunities are around, your mind is all of a sudden like all these things start popping up. They were there before. You're just now aware of it, right?
Yeah. And that's what's so interesting. You were mentioning like the red car. I remember when I bought my car during the pandemic, which was crazy. You couldn't test drive cars or anything. And I really hadn't noticed cars. And then when I was in the mode of I'm going to buy a car, every time all I did, even when I took my walks around the neighborhoods, we're all shut in for a long time, was like, oh, what's that car? What's that car that's parked in this person? I was so conscious. Once I got my new car, I don't see any cars anymore. I don't pay any attention to what's out there. When I was buying a home in Mexico a couple of years ago, we were building a home. That's all we did. Whenever we drove around, I'd be like, stop, look at that house. That's a great idea for a balcony. Once we moved into our new home in Mexico this past almost a year ago, October, I don't notice anything. In fact, somebody said to me, did you get any new ideas for your terrace or for your home? I'm like, oh no, I haven't been conscious and present. So be conscious and present in business to what's being said, to ideas and opportunities, and stay open and stay curious.
Yeah, it is so amazing what comes in from the universe, from what's around, but in your perception when you're just open. And I think that's a huge part of it. What is your focus this year with Entrepreneur?
Oh, thank you for asking. So I have a goal between now and the end of the year to help 1,000 more people, 1,000 more shift to this entrepreneur mindset and mentality. And so just this week, I'm finishing giving this master class with a little over 200 people that I accepted there. Every time I do a master class, about 200, 300 more people that I can impact. And just knowing that I'm helping to transform business owners' thinking so that they actually understand how to do business in an easy, effortless, joyful, and fun way, so that while they're impacting their clients and transforming lives, they have time freedom and can live their lives in the moment, because we never know what's coming in the next moment. My very, very close friend, almost like a brother to me and former business partner, very healthy guy, worked out every day, ate healthy, suddenly had a massive stroke last week, massive, and he's young. And he's no longer able to speak. He has a very deep case of aphasia where he has no recognition of any words and can't communicate at this point. My other client of mine this morning, he called me, and his best friend at 32 years old just had a massive heart attack and just dropped dead. So I'm not sharing that to get everyone scared, like, oh my God. I'm getting you to say, do what I do now. Let me make a difference now. Let me live in the moment, not worry about goal setting for 6 months. I'm just looking at who are the people I can transform who are showing up right in front of me. Does that make sense?
I mean, it does. I had a situation 2 years ago where I ended up in the hospital, and it was a near-death experience. Because I was in the right place at the right time, the doctors saved my life. But you don't know if you have tomorrow.
Exactly.
We do need to live every day and use our purpose. And we're here for a reason. We're not here just to go through the motions. We have things to learn. We have things to impart onto others. Take advantage of every moment you have, for sure.
Yeah. And that's why I'm such a stickler on creating a company versus a business. A lot of people are business owners. They do transactions, they trade time for money. If they get ill, they have no more money coming in. If they ever want to retire, no more money comes in. Let's just say they want to go lay on a beach in Tahiti, or they want to help their sick parent or their sick child or grandchild, no money comes in. From day one, you have to start with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey said, and you have to say, what is the exit plan? Now, I'm not planning to retire. I love what I do, and I'd like to do this as long as I'm mentally and physically able. However, there is a transition plan so that Heartrepreneur can live on without me. I have massive time freedom. I serve my client family members. I've transformed over 7,100 of them to date, and I give them my all. However, I have massive time freedom. I work about 21 hours a month. And I want business owners to see how you can sit in the CEO chair, still bring in, like we do, 3-4 million a year, making a big impact without you trading time for dollars.
There is so much we can do without trading time for dollars. There's so much value. We've recently read the book Evangelpreneur by Josh Tolley.
Yeah.
And the concept of we're not meant to be working and overworking and taking time away from our families. We are humans first. What's your next piece of advice for somebody who obviously knows they're in the wrong spot, but doesn't know where to go?
So the first thing is going to sound funny, and that is stop listening to the typical advice you're getting online, okay? It is so generic and watered down. And don't just be a copy and paster. Oh, somebody did a post and that went viral. I'll do something like that. Your audience, your words and their words are not the same. Stop relying on chat bots. Please do your own thinking with your human brain. Let me tell you, if we're all using the same prompts in chatbot, we're all getting the same answers. I'm seeing it every day. I'm seeing the same articles, the same blog posts, the same social media posts. I downloaded something from someone who's a huge fan of mine. You didn't put your name in. I want to know who that is. And what I see is people are using the same content. So here's what happens. If I'm going to choose somebody, let's say I'm going to choose a life coach to work with to help me find my life purpose. And all the life coaches look and sound alike. Not going to choose them. The one person who stands out, who looks different, thinks different, who speaks different, who is authentic, is the person I will resonate with. So my biggest piece of advice is stop looking at what anybody else is doing. Oh, Christy's here. Love you, Kristen. Be you. Be yourself. You don't need a chat bot giving you answers. And by the way, a lot of the time the answers are wrong. Use your own brain and don't model what other people are doing. Don't be a cookie cutter. So if I can go to your website and go, yeah, I could cross your name out and put somebody else's name there because it looks like familiar info, you're not doing the right thing. You have to have what we call at Heartrepreneur a core unique positioning statement. That is not a USP or an elevator pitch. That is a statement that sets you apart from everybody in the industry. So there is no more of comparing apples to apples. You're this orange that stands out. That's my favorite advice to give Noelle.
I love that. I mean, the unique positioning statement is very almost forgotten, I feel like, in some aspects. And it's so needed. We are unique. We are specific, and we have unique stories and experiences, and we need to take advantage of that, because you're right. We will resonate with people differently when we connect those heart to heart.
Exactly. And you might be the face of your brand, right? There's a whole team at Heartrepreneur. It's not Terri Levine. It's not the Terri Levine show. It's Heartrepreneur. It's my philosophy into the brand. I am right now the face of Heartrepreneur. Someone else at some point could easily be the face of Heartrepreneur, which means I bring my unique voice, my unique gifts, my unique spin, because people are not buying from Heartrepreneur as I want this brand. They're buying because they build a relationship with me, heart to heart, heart to heart. Kristen, everyone wants a personal touch. Yeah, I love that. And that is what people want. They want to know that you're there. Right? When I get an email from someone and I respond back, and I know it's like, an email they sent everyone, and I never hear back, I'm out. If I'm in an engaged conversation with someone on a social media platform and I say something or ask a question or a comment and you never have a word to say, I'm out. You have to care more about doing business person to person and caring about one heart at a time than you do about, oh, I want to have these vanity metrics and have a bazillion followers. It doesn't make you a penny and it doesn't help you transform lives.
There's so much value in the heart, and we all have one. We all want to use it. But we got to bring it into the workplace, not just in the bedroom.
I'm glad you said that. Very true.
What is your next project? I know you're trying to do 1,000, but what's next?
Yeah, so I run a mastermind, a live in-person mastermind. It'll be in Philadelphia in October. And then I do another one because I live in Mexico in the winter. That one is in Mexico in February. And it's truly one of my favorite things to do because I get to break bread with the members. We have lunch, dinner together, breakfast. We're face to face. We can hug. For me, it's just what makes it so juicy and wonderful doing what I do. So I've got those two coming up on the agenda and I cannot wait.
It is so much fun. I know we were missionaries for a while, so talking to people and doing business, but when you can have those visits and do things together and do life together,
yes,
it just means the world. What's a challenge you are facing?
So I don't have any challenges in business, and I have had a challenge this summer, and sort of like a double whammy. My husband went in to have a knee replacement. And at the same time, literally 3 days before, I tore all the tendons in my left hand, and I am left hand dominant.
Ouch.
So having to care for him with one hand. And when he came home, he got an infection after surgery in his knee. So he's had a major setback. He saw the surgeon yesterday. The surgeon's pleased with how things are going and told him you can expect 6 months to a year for a full recovery. So that was going on, right? While I'm still doing business and helping my client and family members. And I did a few friends saying, well, why are you still working? And I'm like, if I wasn't working, I think I would go crazy. I do what I do. I show up, I help my clients. And in between that, I'd be helping my husband. And, my hand is what it is. I'm not a candidate for surgery because I do have RSD, which is a neurological disease. So they don't typically do surgery on people that have that. So I'm learning to use this hand, which I'm like, oh, you've been around for a long time. Nice to see you.
Didn't know you were still there.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know that you didn't know how to do certain things, and it's learning. It's doing a good job now.
It's kind of a rewiring of your brain. I know I broke my writing hand several years ago, and those few months were hard.
Yeah.
And it is so much extra brain power to get something to do what it wasn't been doing.
Yeah.
So
kind of interesting. Deborah, I love that. It is kind of a same thing. It's really funny because when Mark first came home from the hospital, I didn't work the rest of that week because he really needed like 24/7 help. And by the time that week was over, I'm like, I cannot wait to get back to work. and it's for me, it's what I love doing. It's also a diversion. And now that he's somewhat more independent, which is so awesome, I'm back to doing what I do and fully embracing it. I will say, though, if you love what you do and you just show up and do it every day, time goes really, really fast.
It does. But yet you have the flexibility. You said the time freedom that you could be there for him
exactly
in a very important time where he needed you. So that's very valuable as well.
I feel the same. And, I shaped my business so I could be with my family. My dad lived with us for 16 years before he passed, and I could be with him. We had one of my nephews moved in. He spent 4.5 years with us, and I could help him in his career. And there's just so many things that you can do when you have time freedom and when you live in the moment. I don't live by going, I'm making all these plans, and this is my bucket list. I do things now. I do it right now. Wow. Dialysis 4 times a day and still working in your business. And you went through a huge loss. We won't go to details, but she went through a huge loss. Her husband passed and she still showed up. And I remember in one of your videos, Deborah, there was Terri video, And you said that, it helps you focusing on work, and that it's not like you're not sad that Willie isn't with you, obviously. It just really gave you a way to continue to show up and be present. And also it does help us divert our minds.
It does. And there's a lot in that recovery of any illness or loss or situation. And we need some normalcy.
Yeah.
To some extent.
It's very true.
Do you have anything to offer our listeners today, Terri?
So I do have just one quick thing. It was a good 8 months ago, I started noticing that the typical gaps in my clients were either in sales or in marketing or overall entrepreneurship. So I put together a really short assessment that people can take. And when they go through the assessment, they're going to get a customized report. I actually did my assessment again this morning. I do it once a month. And it gives kind of a little graph of, here's where you're really strong. Here's where you're not so strong. And then along with it, and this is customized, you get a customized report that tells you what it is you can be doing to improve your business, and literally ideas you can go implement right away. It's on my main website, which is heartrepreneur.com. And what Christy said here, when you have a passion for what you do, right? So it took me forever to develop this report. And I remember somebody said to me, why are you spending hours and hours? It was months on this report. And that was because I had a passion, and I still do, to help other entrepreneurs. And I believe when they go through and they take this very short quiz, it's 1E, heartrepreneur.com. Of course, I have one of the most complicated words here.
Right.
Anyway, that really does make a difference. And that's my goal. Thank you, heartrepreneur.com. You'll see the assessment totally free. It's my gift.
What a blessing. Thank you so much for joining us today, Terri. It's great to hear you, hear your story, and hear your heart.
Oh, thank you. We are very aligned, and it's my honor to be here. Thank you, everyone, too, who joined us.
All right.
Are you an entrepreneur or business owner? If so, you need to know about the Achieve Systems Business Building Membership. We are one of the best referral-based communities that wants to refer you. We help generate you thousands of leads per year. We also provide you an incredible mentorship program that has won many awards. We don't stop there. We have 60 plus opportunities to take your business to the next level, like authoring and publishing books and many, many more. Go to achievesystemspro.com and get started today.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and a huge thank you to our guest for sharing her wisdom, experience, and insight. It's been an absolute pleasure and honor to have her on the show. The incredible stories and achievements of the women we feature on this podcast are not just inspiring, they're a call to action. They remind us that we are capable of achieving anything we set our minds to. I encourage you to take that first step toward realizing your dreams and living your best life. Don't wait for permission. Believe in yourself. And if you're looking for support and guidance on your journey, I invite you to join me. Text WOMEN to 55444 to learn more about how I, your Journey Navigator, can help you unlock your full potential. Remember, you are unstoppable. Let's make big things happen together.